Good evening and welcome to Central News for Wednesday the 29th of January. I'm Anne-Marie Case-Miller. In today's news, the Ministry for Primary Industries has begun public consultation on new catch limits for rock lobster and scallop stocks and changes to commercial overfishing penalties for sea cucumber for the 1st of April this year. MPI is also consulting on proposals to introduce carpet shark, seal shark and hagfish to the quota management system from the 1st of October 2014. MPI invites feedback from stakeholders and tangata whenua on the proposals. James Stevenson Wallace, MPI's Director of Fisheries Management, says the Ministry recognises that New Zealand's fish stocks are a valuable resource and is committed to sustainable fisheries. Runners and walkers wanting to make good on their New Year's fitness resolutions can join a Monday evening 5K course at the University of Waikato. The university is partnering with local running club Hamilton City Hawks to host a series of 5K run and walk events on campus. Hamilton runners and walkers will be familiar with the other Hawks runs. During daylight saving, the club organises the Eastside Tavern 5K along the Waikato River on Tuesdays and the Smith and Mackenzie run in Chartwell on Wednesdays. Now let's take a look at our region's weather. Hamilton basks in sunshine with a warm high of 24 degrees tomorrow after a low of 12 overnight. And Tauranga will need the hats and sunscreen as well, with a high of 26 degrees expected, down to 16 tonight. Just ahead, we find out what success in the cricket means for the Northern Districts Cricket Association. Welcome back to Central News. The Sky City Northern Knights finally broke their HRV 2020 drought, defeating the Otago Volts at Hamilton Seddon Park on January the 18th. Northern District's CEO Peter Roach joins me now to discuss the win and what it means for the team. Peter Roach, CEO of the Northern Districts Cricket Association, welcome to Central News. And firstly, congratulations on the win in the HRV 2020.
Yeah, thank you. It was a great result for Northern Districts and the Sky City Northern Knights, and we're rapt to have finally won that competition.
What does that win mean for the team?
Well, we're in the business of winning. That's why we put the team on the park. And this is the competition that I think all domestic teams would agree is the one that we all want to win most. But internally, it's a great reward for a lot of hard work. We've got a new coach, a new captain who've put in a lot of work to get this team to where it is, and it's fantastic that they've got the result. It's
guaranteed you a place in the Champions League later on this year as well. Tell me about that.
That's the competition that's all the best domestic teams from around the world come together and play for a fair bit of money. So that's a great opportunity for our association. New Zealand pool that money, so we don't get a great share of that. But it's a great opportunity for our players to play on the world stage, which opens up some further opportunities for them.
Financially, that win, as you were saying, is a great thing for both the team and the club. It would also bring more people to watch the team, so you've got people on the seats.
Yeah, it does, and we're really excited in recent times by the engagement in cricket in Hamilton. We had a great crowd last night for the Indian game. We had some great crowds for our games. We've had some really good positive press around our performances. So cricket's going well at the minute, and we're riding that wave.
Who are your standout players, or is it really a case of a great all-round team?
In the 2020 competition, we were rapt with the performance of our young guys. Daryl Mitchell, Scott Kugelheim played two fantastic games in our finals, but throughout the series, our young guys really stood up for us. You can add in Ish Sodhi, John O'Bolt, our two young spinners who, time and time again bowled beautifully for us. So 2020 is generally a game of the veterans, but our younger guys really stood up when it counted.
Northern Districts is a huge catchment area, isn't it? Basically 3/4 of the North Island. Is that a plus or a minus?
Well, we see it as a huge plus. It creates us challenges. We have to go out to some far-flung regions of the North Island to service cricket, but across the globe, the majority of elite sportsmen come from country regions, so it's a great opportunity for us. And our results in producing black cap players in recent times is second to none. We've got 6 in the last Test squad, and we continue to produce really good quality players.
The buzz in cricket at the moment is all about the planned takeover. Cricket Australia, England and India. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's fascinating what's going on in Dubai. India has a lot of power in world cricket. They generate 80% of the income through their television rights deals and their huge supporter bases in India and around the world. and they're flexing their muscle for a greater share of that pie. And carrying alongside them is Cricket Australia and the English Cricket Board. So, watching from afar, it's fascinating to see how it's going to play out. They currently have a lot of power, so this is just probably trying to formalise that power.
Peter, thanks for joining me.
No problem.
The Avanti Drome Rev Cycle Festival offers something for everyone, with categories ranging from elite riders through to children. I spoke with U Leisure Manager Kevin Andres earlier this week to find out how everyone can ride the roads of champions. How do you see the addition of the new Avanti Drome enhancing the Avanti Drome Rev Cycle Festival?
It's going to be really positive for our event. It's a stunning facility, but it's more than that. It's a symbol for cycling in the Waikato region, and we're already seeing some of those benefits with new people moving into our region, new cyclists, but not just cyclists. Triathlon are here, of course rowing is here, but so together we're forming this base of really talented athletes in our region, and we all love having inspirational figures in our lives, and some of these people are achieving amazing things on the world stage, and for a cycling festival we love having new people get involved in the sport. And so seeing some of these elite athletes on the tally training in our region hopefully will inspire more people to get on the bike and participate in events and in the Rev Cycle Festival as well.
The Avanti Drome Rev Cycle Festival really does offer something for everyone, but the Rev 100 is the most popular category. Why do you think that is?
Well, the Rev 100 is the marquee event of the whole cycle festival. It attracts recreational riders of all abilities. Some of them are still really very good, but all the way down to those who are looking for a challenge, those that are looking for a quality event to take part in. They like to have a goal to train for, and so it's attracting people from across the regions into the Waikato. There's some great terrain that they're cycling on. We put a lot of effort into the cycle safety, so when we get a group of people together, we need to take care of them, and there's a lot of effort behind the scenes which makes sure as best we can that the cyclists are safe on the course. There's a really neat atmosphere at the event base, so people can become spectators of some of the other events as well as participate. There's a whole range of good reasons why people get involved. And
you're planning something special for registration this year. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are the Avanti Drome Rev Cycle Festival, and with the Avanti Drome near completed, official opening in April. So we're going to give a sneak preview for our Rev participants, and we're going to have registration on the Friday before the event inside the Avanti Drome. I've been in there, it's stunning. So yeah, we're going to bring in a whole lot of people who are probably very curious about the event to have a look in there, to get a feel of what it's all about. Alison Shanks will be there, so she's obviously a very experienced track cyclist. She'll be there to answer a few questions. She'll have her bike and gear and stuff. So yeah, it'll be a very cool experience. When you first walk in there, it's a bit of a wow factor. So yeah.
You've linked up with the charity Poet. Can you tell me about that?
So Poet is the Perry Outdoor Education Trust. They facilitate outdoor education experiences for low decile secondary schools. They try to create learning and social experiences for these children, for these teenagers. People participating in the Rev will get to find out a little bit more about who Poet are when they're at the event. Poet will be there as a group. Some of the teenagers who have been through the Poet system will possibly be riding as well. It's a good link. It's all about empowering young people to get active and get involved.
Online entries for the Avanti Drome Rev Cycle Festival are now open. For more information, check out the website therev.co.nz. Coming up next on Central News, we find out more about the Hamilton City Council draft local alcohol policy and find out how you can have your say. Welcome back to Central News. Hamilton City Council have prepared a draft local alcohol policy which proposes changes to the way alcohol is sold, supplied or consumed within Hamilton City. I spoke with Councillor Angela O'Leary about the changes in trading hours and the public submission process. Tell me about the trading hours and how they're going to change. How will they affect supermarkets and how do the supermarkets feel about it?
Well, not too sure how supermarkets feel, possibly not very happy. When we were discussing pre-sort of consultation, when we were developing the policy, we talked to a lot of off licences and they said, look, okay, we'll submit to the reduction in hours, but it has to be for all of us, and that includes supermarkets. So council's put that principle in the policy to be fair and consistent. But I do have to say that supermarkets in New Zealand account for only 3% of the total amount of off licences in the country, but they sell 60% of the beer and 35% of the wine. So, you know, they're major players in the alcohol game.
The submission process can be seen as daunting, is it?
It's not. I think the submission process is easy. I think the daunting part is those that wish to speak to a submission, and then they got to come along and sit in the chamber and face 12 councillors and the mayor, and that can be a little bit daunting. But it is an easy policy, and it's especially easy online. And then once the submissions close on the 17th of February, then staff collate all of the information, and they put that in a report, and then we go into hearings, and that's when people who want to talk to their submission as well can come and present to council.
Apart from online, if somebody doesn't have easy access to the internet, can they do it the old-fashioned way with pen and paper?
Yes, the old-fashioned way. I think our libraries have copies of all the submissions around the city online. You can come into council and pick up a paper, newspaper and pen. So there's a variety of ways.
Now, is there an opportunity to speak after making the submissions?
Yes, so that's where council goes into a hearing process and people can come along and speak to their submission. And that's often helpful because, you know, there's 12 councillors and a mayor sitting there, and we're human beings, so it's good to relate to another human being. And look, it's not daunting. I'll be chairing those meetings, so I will look after everybody that comes and talks to us.
Work on Hamilton's ring road network is speeding ahead with construction of 2 additional lanes on Wairere Drive. Project Manager at Hamilton City Council, Tar Lawrence, explains what we can expect next. What's the next section of the ring road that will be worked on?
Well, this section we're underway at the moment is the final piece of work in this area. Construction of the ring road as a whole is continuing down towards the Hamilton Gardens on the Day Street section, and that's going to be underway for another year or so yet.
Will there be much more disruption to motorists?
From time to time there will be. We do have a good team working to program the works to minimise disruption where practical, but yeah, from time to time there are still going to be delays. It's the nature of the works, and we're working to minimise that. We've programmed this section during the school holidays for the closure, and that's been really well received. You know, all road users can see what we're doing here. They've seen the other sections which have been opened, and they're quite understanding, and I think they look forward to once it's finished. So they're quite patient.
What's the feedback been? Are you seeing a difference in the way traffic use the ring road?
Sure, it's a little bit tough to see some of the final patterns at the moment because we still have detours and traffic management in place, but we are already experiencing, you know, quite exciting numbers using the new ring road, which really all that means is they're not rat running on local roads anymore, which is good for the community.
And much safer too.
Oh, it certainly is. We've been able to install new cycle lanes, you know, improve public transport systems on some of those more local roads now that the traffic volumes have reduced.
What's the expected completion date of the whole ring road network?
We've still got a section underway in the vicinity of the Hamilton Gardens, and we're expecting that to be mostly complete towards the end of 2015. We're still working on that, so we don't have any final timelines on it yet.
Have you begun to plan a ring road marathon or bike race?
Look, I think that's a great idea. You know, we've as part of this program, we've completed almost 7 kilometres of shared walking and cycling pathway improvements or construction, and you know, I think we've now got a complete link which we probably could run a marathon on.
After the break, we speak with Sergeant Victor Snedden from the Morrinsville Police, who has some timely road safety tips as our children head back to school. That's next on Central News. Welcome back to Central News. As our children head back to school, their safety on the roads becomes of paramount importance. Sergeant Victor Snedden from the Morrinsville Police joins me now to talk more about children and road safety. Sergeant Vic Snedden, welcome to Central News. Now, with the children heading back to school, what can we as parents and caregivers be doing to educate our children about road safety?
In a National Police release, we're reminded that the children are very excited. They're seeing their friends, etc., for the first time, and so they're maybe not paying quite the same attention to some of those road safety guides that we've given them. If parents can take the time to take their children along the walking route if they're walking to school, or to cycle with them on a number of occasions, that makes the journey a lot safer for them.
There are many different modes of transport. You know, the children bike, they walk, bus, get to school, and all of them have their own different pros and cons. What are some of the dangers we need to be aware of? For instance, the children who are walking to school.
From my office at the Morrinsville Police Station, I see some tiny children walking to school, and I know that they're crossing two major roads. So I would suggest that parents should accompany their children for those first few years at school, or at least have them going with a buddy who's significantly older. Although that's not a guarantee, because some of our accidents involving student pedestrians are intermediate or even high school because they're distracted when they're crossing that roadway.
Is stranger danger still an issue?
Stranger danger will always be an issue, but in real terms, providing children know that they shouldn't approach and certainly get into a vehicle with someone they don't know, then the real risk is getting struck by a vehicle on their journey to school.
What about the children who bike to school? Obviously they need a roadworthy bike, they need a helmet. What is the age we should be letting our children on the roads?
Well, interestingly, there's no statutory age for children to ride a push bike on a road. I've got 4 children, and we spend a lot of time riding as a family. The suggestion is sort of 8 to 11 years of age, depending on their development. Children should be safe to ride on a roadway. And it's a grey area for police, certainly for younger children. We might pay a little less attention to the fact they're on a footpath, but there are risks with that as well around sneaky driveways. Most of our crashes involving students would be on a footpath with cars coming out of driveways and students striking the side of them. And
a lot of our rural children, of course, take a bus to school. Basics, wait till the bus leaves before you cross the road.
Yeah, having spent 3 years as a police education officer teaching bus safety and so forth, one of my colleagues at Morrinsville, through the Matamata area, organised a project for a high glow vest for every rural bus student. So you see students walking around waiting for buses or catching buses in those vests. That's as a result of Diane's work, but that's probably the most significant one. Waiting till the bus, and we sort of take, let's go at least 1 or 2 lampposts away so that the children can see clearly both ways. And for the younger children, I guess, whether it's children who are being dropped at school or children who are catching the bus, parental convenience shouldn't override safety. Just because it's more convenient for you to park on the other side of the road when the school bus is arriving or leaving, get out of your car as a parent for your small children and get across and stand in the grass verge and wait for them to get off that bus, hold their hand and walk them across the roadway.
Safety, it's just, 2 minutes and it can mean a big difference.
Yeah, we're not made of brown sugar, we're not going to dissolve in the rain. I think parents need to accept that just because the car's warm and dry, they need to be out of that car and accompanying their children across that roadway. We talk about the road as being the danger when we're teaching kids in schools, and the parents need to be aware of that as well.
Sergeant Victor Snedden, thank you for your time. Hamilton City businesses are calling for a ban on psychoactive substances and don't want so-called puff shops in the CBD. I spoke with Chair of Strategy and Policy, Hamilton City Councillor Angela O'Leary, who explained why the CBD is one of 2 options.
So under the Act we can develop a policy, and that's out for submissions at the moment, and in that policy we are very restricted in what we can put in there. We can find an area in the city, restrict them to an area in the city where the retailers can set up, and we can put buffer zones around sensitive sites like schools, playgrounds, museums, churches, maraes, and we can also put, those shops can't set up in those sensitive site areas, and we can also put a buffer zone around another retailer selling the same product, and we've done that in our policy, and that's a 1/2 kilometre radius.
Why is the CBD in Hamilton City an option to sell psychoactive substances?
So the reason that that is in the policy as and going out for consultation is because in the CBD there's a high concentration of CCTV cameras, police walk the beat, there's city safe officers, and there's a high concentration of people and workers and people moving around the city. So there's more people actively participating in that sort of surveillance of any sort of naughty activity that's going to be happening, rather than allowing the stores to go into the suburbs where there are fewer people.
CBD retailers don't want these puff shops in their neighbourhood. Can you understand their point of view?
I absolutely understand their point of view and completely agree with them. Council doesn't want these stores anywhere in Hamilton, but we can't make legislation we can't make policy that's against the law. We would be breaking the law. So the CBD Association and the businesses in town have every right to not want this in the area. So I know we're going to be getting some strong submissions from them.
Tell me about option 2, which is the CBD and Tarapa. Surely an industrial area would be preferable?
Well, yes, on the face of it, it definitely would. However, there are still a lot of retail out in the Te Rapa area, and there are a lot of cafes and things that are childcare centres and things that attract families there as well. So, as I said before, the best place for these stores to set up is nowhere, but we have to put them somewhere.
You mentioned sensitive areas. Is the CBD not a sensitive area with restaurants and the library both in close proximity?
The CBD as a whole isn't, but all of those things are. So Garden Place, there are a variety of education institutions in town. They are all sensitive. So effectively putting a 100-metre buffer zone around all the sensitive sites in the CBD, we're restricting the sites where these stores can go to a small place quite close to the police station, south of the city, and another small place north of the city. It would effectively take the city down from, at the moment we've got 9 stores, it would reduce it to 1 or 2.
To ensure your voice is heard, make your submission online at hamilton.co.nz/consultation. And that's Central News for Wednesday, the 29th of January. Make sure you like us on Facebook and let us know your views. And if you have news, including your own video and photos, make sure you go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining me. I'm Anne-Marie Case-Miller. Ka kite anō.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.